So welcome to The Exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I'm back here with an episode 4 recap of the Traitors US Season 2, and I'm really excited to be joined by one of my favorite Survivor players of all time. She's a big fan of the Traitors too, Kelley Wentworth. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, Sharon. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy you're here because obviously I follow you on social media and I know you have a lot of thoughts about the Traitors, and so I needed you on. I needed you here.
It needed to happen. I think we're going to have a lot of fun. This was a great
Yes.
episode. I love the Traitors. You know, I can't stop talking about it. And I just have to say, it's funny because even though I've been on a reality show, I just love reality TV. In my core, who I am growing up, I watched reality TV. That's how I first started watching Survivor and Big Brother, and so that's why I love talking about it. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I wanted to ask you because I've been known for my Big Brother coverage, but yeah, are you a huge Big Brother fan? I didn't know if you were. I was wondering.
I really do love Big Brother. I have to be honest though. I'm one of those people that feels like old school Big Brother is kind of more what I fell in love with.
I get it.
So, I was watching as a kid. I would watch it with my mom in the summers, and I was a big Dr. Will fan and Janelle and obviously Dan. And although I do love the new season, sometimes not trying to be a Debbie Downer so early into our chat, but it's just a little bit of the charm of it is gone for me. Maybe because I'm getting older. I don't know. But yes, I love Big Brother. I've watched it forever.
Wow. Okay. No, I totally get it. And the feeds are a lot too. It's just a lot to keep up on, to be honest.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I've never been a feedster, but I will tell you, did I just say that about myself? Wow. But this last season, I actually did watch the feeds, mainly because of Miss Queen Suri. I had to see her do her magic in there. So that's the only reason. But it's a lot to keep up with. So everyone who watches live feeds, y'all, I don't even know how you do it, how you have a life. It's impressive.
I don't know how we all have actual jobs and watch this nonsense, but okay.
I know. But you do it.
Yeah, we do it. Well, first of all, real quick, what did you think about Suri on season 1?
Okay, so I'm
just curious.
Yeah, okay, listen, if anyone listening to this has not seen season 1, I guess spoilers, but it's been out for a long time now. So I thought the ending of season 1 was some of the best TV. I could not believe the entire season nobody thought that Suri was a traitor. You really think the production is going to put Suri Field on the Traitors and not make her a traitor?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's wild. Wild. That's why they got rid of these normal people, because they're not getting it.
I know. But you had 10 people that have been on TV and how production works. How would you not think? I don't know. But it was amazing. I feel at the end she got rid of Ari, which was incredible. She's nah, this money is mine. It is my time. So I love it. I am the biggest Suri stan. I will always be my favorite player, and now she is just out here doing everything. So I love it.
I love it too. I love her.
Yeah.
Well, before we dive into this, tell me, do you what's your relationship with Sandra and Parv? I know you haven't played with them, but have you crossed paths? Are you friendly with them?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've only seen Parv at a few parties, here and there. Quick funny story. I guess there was a rumor going around initially that I had been called or something. I'm not sure, but I received a little DM from Parv, and she was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Hey, girl." I'm not on the cast. Don't worry. She's like, oh, "Okay, bye."
Oh my god.
So that's my relationship with Parv. And then Sandra, I actually don't know that I've met Sandra in person. I don't know, but we've exchanged messages. We've sent some notes back and forth, and she seems great too. So, yeah,
love it. I love it. Tyson actually told me, he was I think Survivor's pretty good training for games like this. I know you guys are biased, but what do you think about that?
Listen, now I'm always going to stand up for Survivor, but I do think that there is a certain type of manipulation in Survivor that maybe is not in some of the other shows. And I'm not saying that there isn't lying and manipulation. It's just that in Survivor, you're also stripped of everything. So it's really hard to think and be able to keep your story straight. And so to be able to do all of that and lie directly to people's faces and just vote them out, stab them in the back. It definitely takes a certain kind of person, in my opinion, to be good at Survivor. So I definitely think in a game like the Traitors, Survivor players have the skills required to do well.
Yeah. I think the pace also is obviously faster than Big Brother. So, like, maybe the pace is more, I don't know, in tune with Survivor. But, so as a Big Brother fan, were you excited to see Dan and Janelle on the cast?
Babe. Oh my gosh. I do love Janelle. I've actually talked to Janelle before. But Dan, for me, I will never forget Dan's funeral. And I've talked about it so much. Anyone who follows me is probably like, Kelley, we get it. You love Dan. You love Dan's funeral. But I do truly think at the time, especially when that was airing, I don't even remember what year that was that season.
It was like 10 years ago, actually, now. That's like, crazy.
Like, reality TV was cutthroat, but we've come a long way since then. It was incredible. I went back and watched the scene, and truly what he does is it's incredible. And so I love Dan. The fact that we haven't seen him since then is crazy. And now we get him, and it's like, I wanted him to be a traitor, but he's not doing so great. But I'm here for it. I hope he can dig himself out. If anyone is going to get out of this kind of small hole that started, it would be Dan.
Yes, I totally agree. And I understand the people that don't know him from Big Brother. They were a little critical of the first 3 episodes, because he took a back seat. And Dan, we know Dan, like, he's going to assess the situation first. But I do think we saw a little bit more of like what we're used to in this episode with Dan, which we'll get into. But we actually, this is like the first crack in the Traitors, which was excited to see, even though I love them all.
Yes. Parv is going for it, and I'm a little concerned. But...
I'm a little concerned. Well, okay. So where we left off is obviously Parv has to poison someone with that chalice or whatever. She didn't have many options. I think it was just a tricky situation. She ultimately got Ekin-Su. What do you think there's anything she could have done better in that situation? Like, how would you handle it?
Okay. Well, first of all, I did love how Phaedra was just like, meh, y'all got this. She's like, I'm like, whatever. Off. You guys have this handled. And then Dan just seemed nervous, but Parv is like, don't worry, this is my thing. So that alone is just impressive, because truly in that situation, she's a one-woman show trying to do something in this really sneaky fashion. Everyone already had their glasses, obviously. So how are you going to get someone to drink out of this rusty wine glass when everyone already has a glass? Like, you do kind of have to make it this like, oh, haha, take a drink, be casual. So in my opinion, maybe they didn't get the target they wanted. But at the end of the day, she also can't stick her neck out so far and be so obvious that they're like, oh, well, Parv definitely was doing some suspicious behavior. So I think she did it the right way.
I agree. I was pretty impressed. Like, I think it's a tough sell. And then also I'm thinking, like, what did Alan tell them? Like, did they know Alan was going to say, oh, someone was poisoned? Because, like, when he said that at breakfast, I was kind of like, whoa, like, this is too obvious that it's Parv. But I don't know. I guess no one noticed. It did seem a little bit like it. I think I saw a few people looked a little, maybe they'd had one or two. I'm not sure, but maybe people were a little buzzed. I mean, because to me, the way that Parv gave the drink to Ekin-Su, I was like watching it, at least the edited version. I'm like, that seems so obvious to me. Yes, the fact that Ekin-Su was like, did I get poisoned? It's like, well, Parv literally handed you a glass like that you'd never seen before. So yes, wait,
you were.
Kelley, you're so right. I didn't even realize they were definitely a little drunk. So that helps.
I think that helps.
Okay.
I think they were a little like, whatever. Like maybe forgot about some things. So
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
You're right there. So Phaedra didn't want anything to do with it, but then she was not thrilled because obviously she threw a vote on Ekin-Su. And so that was like the number one crack in the, she's like, Parvati, like, why would you, Ekin-Su, come on. Like, it's whatever.
But hold on, not to interrupt.
Yeah,
she didn't help.
Exactly. That's how I felt.
She had no say in what Parv did. I mean, they had to kill somebody. She was nowhere to be found. She stood in that one area with all of her housewives, which is fine. But it's like, well, you weren't there for the kill. So.
Right. And she didn't go after, she didn't go after like a housewife or her best friend. Yeah. It was just kind of like, whatever. And then Dan was loving it though, because Dan's like, I can use this later. That, he's always just thinking, he's like, I can use Parv to, take a shot. He's already thinking about that, which I love. This is the Dan I love.
This is the Dan we know and love. Absolutely.
Yes.
But can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Dan was sitting right there when Parv
weird.
and Ekin. I'm like, was no one paying attention? What's going on?
They must have been sitting there for hours, because I'm like, how do you miss these things?
I know. He's like, who did she murder? It's like, Dan, you were literally sitting right there when they were giggling, sharing the cup. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So that was great. But...
I was like, is that him acting again? Because I've definitely seen him be like, what's going on? And I'm like, Dan, you're killing me.
Dan, get it together.
Get it together.
Yeah, but that was great at the breakfast when it was just the three of them at first, which was awesome. And they were like, wait, you killed someone? Who did you get? It's like, that was a cool moment. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. And like, as much as like, Phaedra just cracks me up. She's sitting there just like fanning herself. Oh, not Ekin-Su.
She's like, oh Lord, no. It was great. She's fantastic television, by the way.
She knows how to make good TV. I think she was a great pick for the Traitors. Like, among the cast, I think they actually picked like the best people in that role. But in terms of Phaedra, wait, what was I just gonna say? I lost my. Oh no, in terms of
Ekin-Su vote. I'm sorry, that was my.
No, it's fine. In terms of Ekin-Su, like, I'm not super familiar with her. Do you know Love Island? Like,
yes.
Oh, you do. Okay, so is there a eulogy for Ekin-Su? Like, are we bummed to see her go? I mean, she was entertaining to some extent.
Yeah. Okay, so like I said at the beginning of this, I love my reality TV, all reality TV, and yes, I do watch Love Island UK. I
gotta get into it.
The better version, if I'm being honest. But yeah, she was on, I think, 2 seasons ago. And she was the premise of the show, right? Of Love Island.
Yes.
Okay. So she was in there and she was kind of like the drama queen, like stirred the pot. She had this relationship with this guy named Davide, and they would just like always like get in fights with each other. And then she lied about something and he found out about it. So she was very like in the middle of a lot of drama on that season. So I think she came into this and seemed, I don't want to say reserved, but a little more quiet. But her personality on Love Island was definitely a little louder and kind of more like in the drama of things.
Okay. I mean, I feel like she could have got there, but she got cut early. So it's,
she had moments.
She had her moments. Yeah. What'd you think about Janelle saying, Ekin-Su sucks?
Wait, okay, I do remember that, which was funny, but I remember someone else saying, and I have to look at my notes, hold on for this exact thing, but they said that Phaedra said something about Parv not being the most liked. Did you catch that?
Well, I don't know. I caught it at the end when she goes, Parvati, no one likes you. Everyone thinks you're a traitor.
Okay, she said it near the beginning, too.
Did she? I didn't catch this.
Yeah, do a rewatch if you can, and maybe I have the timing wrong, but I think I had it early on. Really strange, because I'm like, who's not liking Parv? Like, what are we missing? So anyway, back to Janelle. Sorry.
No, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong, because she also said later to Dan and Sandra, like, I wish I voted for Parvati, and I was like, Jesus, like, you're telling the wrong people.
Yeah, what's going on here? What is all this drama happening? We'll get to it, but yeah, I think Janelle and Ekin-Su obviously had an interesting relationship over the course of these past few episodes. So I'm sure there's more to that story that we may hear about eventually.
Yeah, something else happened probably, but
yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, we get to this mission. So Ekin-Su's dead, but not really yet. I don't know about how you felt this mission. Like, I liked the aesthetics. I thought it looked cool. I thought everyone looked great, but like, what is the point of this?
Well, the missions to begin with are kind of funny. I wish they had another layer to them. Yes. Kind of like the mole or something, where there would be a reason for someone to have to sabotage, because I think we're like, and I like them, they're fun, but I do think like everyone wants money. The traitors want money, the faithfuls want money. So like, what would the point be of not doing your best? But this was fun. I liked it because it did create a lot of question marks, and people were like, well, why is this person still there? All of a sudden, everyone was thinking that MJ was murdered, which was, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but that was just wild how nobody thought Parv, nobody thought Ekin-Su. People were all of a sudden saying like Ekin-Su is the traitor. It's like, no, babe, you're wrong. You're so wrong. But I did like it. It was kind of like it just went on a little too long, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I wouldn't say it's like necessarily a mission, but I don't know. It was an interesting thing. Speaking of, Dan got off this episode scot-free. Like, he had so much heat on him, and all of a sudden it's like, no, MJ. You know what I mean? Like, that was interesting.
It switched up so fast.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. That's fine. Put it on the Housewives. That is fine with me.
Yeah. I also loved how the Housewives were like, oh, God, we have to say our ages. We didn't sign up for this.
Wait, did you hear when Sandra?
Yes.
She said, it's so bad. I'm sorry. She's like, oh,
I'm crying.
Larsa's the same age as me? Because I thought she was 15 years older or whatever she said. I don't even know what she said. I'm not doing it justice, but that is like such a Sandra. That is when Sandra shines. Like just that quick, like 5 second, I was dying. Like, oh my gosh, wow. Oh, Sandra.
It was so
girl.
Good. I'm literally crying.
It was so funny. I was laughing so hard. It's like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
The queen is still here.
She's still here. Well, speaking of Sandra, she's playing it low key right now, which I sort of like from her. But I'm curious what you think about. All right, so Sandra kind of breaks it down, and I think Janelle too, about like there's this gamers clique, which is clearly the Survivor Big Brother challenge people, yes. And then there's the Housewives, and Sandra even says when Larsa says CT's name, like, oh, I'm sticking up, I'm with the gamers, and immediately told him. So I'm curious what you think about this, and do you think Sandra and Janelle have an inkling who the traitors are? Because Janelle also listed who she thought were faithfuls, and she said Bergie, Trishelle, Peter, John, and Kevin, which is a good read, but like no mention of Dan, any of the gamers. So yeah, how do you think this gamers and things going, and how do you think Sandra's playing it right now?
Yeah, I think that Sandra is playing really well for being a faithful. I think that because you would think people in that house would look at her and think she could be a traitor. I think that Janelle, I actually wrote a note that I said Janelle has really great reads just based on what you said. And I think that Sandra would be put in that gamer category. And so for her to be able to start kind of rallying people, I mean, at one point, was it last episode or this episode where Bergie was like, I basically trust Sandra's opinion. I mean, that's huge in a game like this. Like, for someone to flat out say that to the rest of the group. Yeah. And I think she's playing a really great game, speaking up when she needs to, but not being too obvious, not being too under the radar, just sitting right in the middle and getting people to trust her. And I think she is very game savvy. Janelle is very game savvy. I would not be surprised if they believe in their minds that Dan or Parv are traitors, especially as they're starting to eliminate more people and you're looking at the board and you're like, well, maybe one housewife is a traitor, but they're not all gonna be. You have to think that people in this like reality TV competition group, like there has to at least be one. So
at least. And that's sort of what I was talking about with Tyson as well. Is like, maybe the housewives don't pick up on this, but if you've played a game before, you also think about what would casting do? What would production do? Who do they want to see as traitors? And like, to not make someone from a competition show a traitor. Like, even CT was like to Trishelle, maybe it's none of the gamers. CT, come on, bro. What's going on?
Come on. Get it together. Even when and not to go back on episodes, but even on episode 1, he's like, well, I must be next. It's like, well, no, I don't think they're just eliminating challenge people. Like, I don't think that's how this game works, but okay. It'll be interesting to see over the course of the next few episodes if, Janelle and Sandra start to pick up on some of these other people, or if any of Dan or Parv start to go after each other, or if Survivor goes after each other, or Big Brother. Like, at some point when you start getting rid of people, if I'm Janelle or I'm Dan, I'm saying, is the other Big Brother person the traitor? Because Janelle, I know I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So to get heat off of you as a gamer, maybe you start throwing somebody else under the bus.
Yep, that's true. And, Dan even said to Parv, we got to show them some bloods at some point, and if we might need to push Phaedra in the front, which I think is correct. Like, I don't know how many people went home yet, but we're like deep into the game. Or not deep, we're 4 episodes, but there's a lot of people, and no one's a traitor yet. You haven't gotten one. So I have to imagine someone's going to turn on someone, and obviously as we get through the episode, we see that things are not going well for Phaedra and Parv.
No.
But yeah.
No. It's not good. We can talk about it more when we get to the round table, but it was a lot.
It was a lot. I'm trying to think what happened before the round table. So Larsa is very much against, or rallying the Bravo ladies to go against CT or Dan, alpha guy. What else happens?
So Larsa gets some of the heat because people said that she did that toast, basically saying toast about Marcus. And so that was in everyone's minds of like, why would she do that? Like, cheers of him leaving. Maybe she was the one who poisoned us, which all of that was amazing for Parv, obviously.
Yes.
Like, you want people looking in others' directions. I mean, no one even mentioned Parv. Even freaking Ekin-Su, who was the one who was poisoned by her, didn't even know. I'm like, did people not see her carrying that rusty wine glass? Like, where did that even come from?
She played it really well, because to me it looked way out of place. Like, why is she carrying this around? I mean, they are in a castle, but still, like, it's a little weird.
But it was weird. So that happened, which was great. And then I think because of that Larsa kind of the accusations towards Larsa, I think they put MJ, if I'm remembering correctly, I'm like already forgetting what happened. I think they put Larsa and MJ kind of together because they're targeting the strong men. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, either Larsa or MJ is maybe a traitor. Is that how it happened? I can't remember exactly now, but.
Yeah, basically. I think they were, the cup thing definitely convinced some people, which I get. I mean, to me, it's like, also, why would Larsa ever murder? If she was a traitor, I don't think she would murder Marcus, like last episode or whatever it was. So I don't buy that, but some people did, and that was good for Parv. But yeah, I think going into the round table, the Housewives, it definitely was like, you could see the groups. The Housewives wanted CT, I guess, or Kevin, which, that's the other thing. These Housewives, it's like, as Stephen Fishback would say, like, you would think they're a voting block. They're not even voting together. Like, they're throwing out rogue votes. And I'm like, Larsa's going to go home. Why are you voting for Kevin? No one's voting for Kevin.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It was bizarre. Some of the reasonings that people have are a little strange.
Yeah, Sheree was like, John, I don't think it's you, but oh wow, like, I'm ready. I
know. Why would you do that?
I don't know. Like,
she's like, I just don't have enough She's like, I don't have enough information to choose who it is, so I'm just gonna vote for someone that I definitely don't think it is. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Because, like, between them, 4 Housewives plus MJ, that's 5 votes. Like, if you know everyone's going for Larsa, go on the one person, and you just need to, like, I think the strategic part was, like, missing there a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and who did Phaedra vote for?
Phaedra
I think she voted for someone
Kevin.
weird too. For Kevin.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't know. So now we're at the round table. Parv's the first. She throws out the Housewives, and you could tell Phaedra is fuming. Fuming. What should have Parv done? To me, I'm like, if you're gonna do this, give her a heads up, or like say like, listen, I don't know, make something up where like preface it, because I just think blindsiding her there by throwing out Housewives was a little. Ugh.
I think the term Housewives and grouping people together when you're working with someone in that group is a mistake, considering Phaedra could turn around and go right after you. Like, well, it must be the survivor people.
Right.
Hello, there's only 2 of you. Like, what are you doing? I did not like that move. I think to your point, she could have done it in a different manner or told Phaedra ahead of time, hey, people are really turning on Larsa. I don't think we can turn this ship around. I'm going to have to go after her tonight or whatever it may have been. I don't think grouping them all together in that way, I really think that was a mistake. I really didn't like it.
I think you're correct. I think using the word housewives, it's like, let Sandra or someone else do that. Like, Parv, you don't need to be the person, because everyone's thinking it, but like,
yeah,
I wish she wasn't the person to put it out there, because that was not great.
No.
Then we had, it was, and then we'll talk about the stare down later, but like, that was some serious shit. Like, I was like, whoa.
Scary.
And Parv's like, what?
She had to have known, though. That's the only reason I didn't like it, honestly. If Phaedra was not a traitor, I wouldn't have liked it, but I maybe would not have been as concerned. But the fact that you two are having to work together now, what is the reason for Phaedra to not turn on you? There's none. Because you have openly said, like, I'm coming after you as a part of a group.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll turn out okay, but I don't know. I think there's some damage control needs to be done here.
Yeah, and the thing about the Housewives is, like, they're used to being confronted on TV and going right back at you. So, like, it's dangerous to go after a housewife because they're not going to be, like, cowardly and not say anything back. They're going to be in your face like, we're making good TV right now, because that's what I'm used to.
Mm-hmm. And they were. Tamara came in hot. She was like, excuse me. Like, oh, boy. Oh, here she comes. I've watched Tamara for many, many years on OC, okay? This is about to be something. She's dealt with Vicky, all right? Like, she will not back down. I guess are we friends now?
I don't know, actually, but Tamara cracked me up with, like, complaining about Kevin's eating. Like, you're chewing too loud or whatever.
Gosh. Did she also say that's why she thought he was a traitor, though? Because he's being, like, too obvious or something? Or he's being too casual or annoying? I didn't even understand it, honestly.
I forget maybe it was MJ, because he told MJ he finds her highly annoying, which was also great.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
But they thought Kevin wasn't, like, alpha male enough or I don't know what the hell. They were saying something about that, and he's like, why do you think I'm so insecure? And I'm just like, this is delicious. This is amazing.
Kevin, honey. He's a non-factor. As Sandra would say, irrelevant. So she's got some good one-liners so far. I'm very happy.
I know. And we also had Larsa and Janelle going at it like, I think you're weird, which another great line from me. There's some good stuff at this round table. I think it was definitely the more exciting one of the last few round tables.
Yeah, it was good. I have a note. I'm sorry, I was looking at my notes because I'm trying to remember. And I have all these round table, and this is my big bold one. Phaedra says, don't do the housewives thing. Like a warning. It was like, Barb, don't do this. This is not
She was like it. Looking in her eyes like, oh, you're going there? Oh, we're going there? Oh, I didn't know this was happening.
Oh man, it was hot.
And then Dan's just sitting there like, what's happening?
Yeah, he's like, what? Well, I mean, great for Dan. You couldn't have asked for anything better if you're Dan. Are you kidding me? He's
loving this. I mean, well, I don't know if he's loving. I think he's loving it. But, like, the immediate aftermath is going to be rough because we'll just get there. When the Traitors get together at the end and the stare down happens, Dan's just like, what happened? Like, literally said, what happened? Like, he had no idea, which was lovely.
Oh, Dan. How has Dan just turned into this, like, I don't know. Like, is Dan, like, Bergie all of a sudden? Like, what's going on here?
Like, if you've watched any of Dan's Big Brother game, you know this is not how he is. No. So that's why I'm convinced Janelle knows he's a traitor, because I'm like, I, as a fan, know that Dan's acting, and Janelle has played with Dan, friends with Dan, like, So, because, Dan's, like, playing dumb, and I'm like, no, he knows exactly what's going on.
Dan, you're not stupid. We know you're not stupid. We've seen you.
Yeah.
That's cute, though.
But yes, so obviously, so she stares at her and she says, "No one likes you, Parvati. Everyone says you're a traitor." Like, double hit. Like, no one likes you. Which, who doesn't like Parv?
I don't know. I that's the thing. We're not seeing it.
Yeah, we're not, honestly.
Is it a situation where people don't like her because they are not getting along with her as a person, or do they think she's a traitor? Because if they thought she was a traitor, why did nobody put the black roses on her? What is that thing? Casket,
yeah.
Why did everyone put it on in? I mean, I know people just kind of started doing the same thing with MJ, but it's like, no, she wasn't even talked about as being an option, as being the traitor. So maybe, are people not liking Parv as a person?
Unless it's just in that Housewives group and she's speaking on behalf of just the Housewives. But, like, we haven't seen it, like you said. They haven't shown anything. But that was a dig. I was like, oh.
I mean, to be fair, in Phaedra's defense.
Yes.
Parv did fire the first shots.
She did.
You have to defend yourself. I don't blame her at all for sticking up and being like, all right, well, I guess we're doing this.
And that's the other thing. Phaedra's a lawyer. Like, again, housewife, lawyer. She's not going to back down. Just, oh, you said my name. It's okay. Like, the stare down was my favorite thing. Because I'm like, she's not playing. Like, I don't know if Parv knew she made a mistake or felt confident and was happy that she did it and thought, oh, Phaedra, it's not going to be a big deal. But, like, that was a bad read because it was always going to be a big deal with Phaedra.
It was always going to be a big deal, which she is a lawyer. I didn't know this. I didn't know anything about Phaedra. I'll be honest with you. Coming into this season, I've been so pleasantly surprised with her, like over the top. I think she's hilarious. But did she say something? Okay, she's a lawyer. She said something. She deals with funerals or something?
Yes, someone told me something about, again, I've only watched a few seasons of Atlanta, and that was years ago.
Okay.
Someone said something about, like, does she own a funeral home or has business in funerals? Something like this. I don't know.
Really? Because she did make a comment when they were doing the funeral procession and they were throwing the roses in. She made some comment of like, oh, I'm the queen of funerals or something. And I was like, what is that? I don't know what that means, but okay.
I don't know. Queen of funerals. Now
I don't think Googling. It was that. I think she said I was like the queen. I don't know the exact term. Hopefully, maybe someone can help us out here. But
wait a minute. I just Googled this, and she has a mortuary business.
Oh,
she's a mortician. Wait, what?
I thought she was a lawyer. Does she have multiple professions?
I guess
it's actually kind of gross. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I already knew that she doesn't practice law anymore, unless I'm wrong. But like, I had no idea about the funeral home. But that's pretty.
That's kind of that. Now listen, I'm saying this in a nice way, so don't take it. That takes a certain type of person.
Yes.
I mean, listen.
Couldn't be me.
Wow.
I can't handle that. You have to have thick skin.
I could never. Not even just for like seeing like dead people.
Yeah.
I don't know why I whispered that. But also usually people in those professions, my understanding is that you also have to deal with the families and stuff, right? So you're dealing with people that are in like really like emotional situations and having to do like, it sounds awful, it really does, but like even in death there's like pricing and bills and all this stuff, picking a casket for somebody. To be able to like do all of that and deal with different people and different emotions, I mean, you kind of do have to be like very tough and thick skinned, like you said. So
yeah, now I'm starting to understand. Like, Phaedra's a badass. Like, Phaedra, I couldn't be me. I'm too emotional for this shit. But like,
I could never.
This is starting to make sense. How did I not know this? No one.
I don't know. Girl, this is my first introduction to her, so I had no clue. But
the first thing that comes up: does Phaedra Parks own a funeral home?
Okay, so we're not the only ones asking this question.
I guess I gotta brush up. They want to know.
I hope in the reunion this is addressed. Like, please tell us.
Yes, Andy, get on that. I mean, Andy probably already knows, but
yeah, we're the ones who are behind. That's fine.
Clearly. Oh, Jesus. Well, so the funny thing is, when she's staring down Parv and stuff, and Dan's like, "What happened?" she looked at both of them and she goes, something about like you both have to play fair. Like she addressed both of them. Like I don't think she's thrilled with Dan either right now.
Well, because here's how I'm thinking she's seeing it potentially. Because and that's the thing. Maybe there was already some weird thing going on because let's go back to the beginning. Yeah. I feel like Parv was Dan's pick. Now, as a traitor. Now, 100%. Phaedra, obviously, like, you should voice your opinion and say, but I think at the end of the day, Dan had the final decision on that pick, and it was Parv, which is great. But then they do the chalice thing together, murder in plain sight. And again, it's kind of like Phaedra's, like, out of that, and then it's Dan and Parv. So I don't know what's going on, but maybe, again, there's something we're not seeing where there's kind of, like, a little alliance with those two. And Phaedra, even though she's a part of the three, maybe feels a little bit distant from that, perhaps. Especially since Janelle's saying there's the gamers, there's the Housewives. Right. It just seems like more and more there's kind of like this division. So
100% agree.
That's why she's like, you both, like assuming they're both making decisions together and she's kind of trying to make her own decisions too. Like, that's how I'm seeing it.
I think you're right. I think in the beginning she was like, oh, whatever. Yeah, like part. But then, once the division in the house started happening, she was like, oh, it's like kind of 2 versus 1 situation.
Exactly.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that. Wow.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm a little concerned. But Larsa's gone.
Yeah. Okay. So do we have a eulogy for Larsa? Like she was definitely stirring up some shit, but like, I don't know. Like she was never going to win this game.
I'm sorry, I have nothing. You go after Dan, and I don't care.
Exactly. Don't come for Dan. And honestly, like, again, the guy got out of it. Like, no one brought up his name once today. During the episode.
Yeah, it's very, very impressive. I don't know how he managed to do it, but sometimes just letting other people go at it is the right answer.
Yep. I'm trying to think who else we didn't talk about. We totally skipped over this, and like probably because it's a non-factor, but Deontay randomly disappearing. Like,
wait, I don't even remember that.
In the beginning,
I don't even remember that.
In the beginning, Alan just goes, Deontay left the game, and that was the end of it.
Wait, like, how did I miss that?
Because it was like a voiceover in the beginning. It was almost like you could miss it because it was so quick. It was weird.
Wait, I literally missed that. He left the game?
Yes.
He wasn't the entire episode?
No. Oh, that's how much you noticed, Kelley. Oh, Deontay.
I'm so embarrassed.
I mean, to be fair, they literally they didn't make a big deal about it, and
I'm so embarrassed.
Well, the funny thing is,
I didn't hear it in the beginning, and honestly, I think what it is that I was so anxious and literally with wondering what was going to happen with the chalice.
The chalice, yep.
I was so, and then like the whole episode was kind of around that. Like, there's a lot of people we didn't see this episode. We barely saw Bergie. We barely saw Peter. We barely saw. Like, there's probably so many people that I'm missing. John, I don't even know what he was doing. So that's honestly why I didn't. I feel so bad, though.
I mean, it's not your fault. Like I said, they glossed over it. Oh. I had read somewhere against this as rumors. I don't know if it's true that he might have injured himself. But, like, to be honest, the guy was super emotional. I don't know how much. He's like a crazy, like, apparently a really, really good boxer. But, like, he was super emotional.
He was very emotional. I think
he was having trouble.
I think it was weighing on him. Because even though he's a boxer and obviously a very competitive person, doing these types of things and lying to people and accusing people, I mean, this is not normal behavior in everyday life. At least I hope not. Yeah. And so I think that he felt a lot of guilt over Peppermint. I think he felt a lot of guilt over Max. And so what would he have been injured? What did they do he would have been injured with?
Yeah, someone said that. That's why it's hard for me to believe, because it's not like they were doing competitions, really.
I think he was like, I'm worth like $50 million or whatever, and I don't need to do this, I think is what it was, if I'm being completely honest, which good for him.
Yep. I think I don't disagree with you because he was having trouble with the lying, and I'm like, oh, this is called the Traitors, but
and it's only going to get worse.
Oh, 100% worse. Imagine if he was a traitor, he would not. That would not go well.
He'd be gone.
But yes, Deontay also is no longer with us.
Oh, I feel so bad. That's such a bummer. He was cool though. I did like him because
He seemed like a sweet guy, but yeah.
I think not long for this game, which he's gone now. But I think he seemed very nice.
Yeah.
Very
Well,
nice.
some of the other people, I feel like Sheree is kind of a non-factor right now.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on her?
I want to have thoughts, but I don't. No, I'm not trying to.
No, she doesn't get much screen time. Yeah, she doesn't get much screen time.
I don't know really what to say, but I feel that same way about Peter and Bergie, to be honest, though.
Yeah, Peter also. It was weird. I was like, he could be a dark horse because he seems kind of smart, but like he really thinks it's MJ right now. So I'm like, maybe he's not that smart. Not yet. No, they're not getting much screen time. So
yeah.
And then John got nothing this episode.
Oh, but can we talk about John just in general? Because protect this man. I think he's so funny. Janelle posted a tweet of it was just like a bunch of clips of him running.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh. I just think he's so funny. He's like when Tamara was I'm sorry, I'm going back, but I have to.
No,
Tamara's like, do you have an inhaler, John? And he's like, no.
With his chest sticking out, and Tyson was like, did they speed that up? And I was like, oh, they sped it up. I was like, why does he look so strange?
Oh, I just love him though. Obviously, I'm not familiar with him at all.
We don't know his political leanings. We're just commenting on his personality.
But I think he's hilarious. I think he's also like stood his own pretty well against people coming against him, which is impressive. And I like John, but yeah, he was like a non-factor in this last episode.
Yeah,
and kind of has been. But
I mean, the same thing with like Trishelle after the peppermint stuff. It seems like she kind of is like taking a back seat a little bit. We see like a little bit of her in CT, but neither of them seem to be on the same or on the right path either. I don't know. They're after the Housewives. I'm like, guys, it's not the Housewives. I mean, Phaedra, but the rest of them.
Yeah. and I like CT, but I also feel like he's kind of been middle of the road. Which is like, yeah. Well, who else?
I know. I'm like, who are we forgetting? I feel like those are like
we kind of talked about Tamara a little bit. Who else? I think that's it. I still feel like we have so many people, but then when we say all the names, it doesn't feel like it's that many.
Well, did you see the news that Kate Chastain is coming into the game?
Oh my gosh. Wait, we have to talk about this.
Yes.
We have to talk about this. Yes. Into the game, though.
Yeah, she got a cast photo and everything. So I believe she comes back in maybe 2 episodes. And I'm just so interested, like, again, I had heard that she knew all along she was coming, so I don't think she's replacing anyone. I could be wrong. But, like, is she going to come in as a... Do you remember the note they showed that was, like, your secret something? There's, like, a note in one of the promos that's, like...
No.
Alan's... I don't know. So I don't know if she's, like, a twist or she just comes in as a faithful. Like, I'm confused how this is going to work.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Coming in the middle of the game, I mean, I've never been a fan of that because it's like, well, I don't know. Edge of extinction.
We don't want to talk about that. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. So she just would have missed so much already. Like she's not been a part of things. I'll be very curious to see how they use her, what that's for. I do like her though. I mean, I went back and rewatched season 1 prior to this season airing. And I remembered her, but I didn't remember how much heat she had on her and how long she stayed. And she was such a character and so funny. And so I am glad to have her back, but I would be curious to know how this is going to work. And then, of course, we can't leave here today without talking about Dr. Will.
Yeah, that's a weird one, huh?
So, okay. I saw on, I still call it Twitter. I know it's X
Me
now.
too.
I still call it Twitter. It's like,
Me
it's
too.
always going to be Twitter to me. I saw that you posted a little clip from an interview you did with Dr. Will. And he said, I'll be coming back to reality TV, but not as a player, as whatever else I might be. And here he is.
Yeah.
So is he just kind of like a fun, they just were like, we want to get everybody back together. We've got Janelle, we've got Dan, let's throw in Dr. Will. What's happening?
I'm trying to think what I could say because I knew about this.
Okay, then don't say.
You know.
Okay.
But no, I think it's clear he's not playing.
Yeah, no, he was sitting on that chair in his like little hats or whatever is going on. Yeah, he's just like hosting a challenge or something. Just
to be honest, I think it has something to do with a mission. I again don't know the specifics, but I know he's not playing, and I'm so interested to see how they introduce him and how it.
Yeah.
With Alan coming, just like half the people, like the Housewives, do they know who Dr. Will is?
That's what I'm saying, is that half the people are, more than half may not know who he is.
Oh, wait, you know Tamara. Apparently Dr. Will lasered off tattoos of Tamara's ex or something? I don't know. Some like weird connection there.
What?
I don't know. Someone posted this. They're like, oh, it's the guy that took the tattoos off Tamara's husband.
Was it the ring from her ring finger? Or
Maybe.
wait, did she get the tattoos on her ring finger with her new hubby?
I don't know.
I can't remember his name.
But he does laser hair or laser removal, tattoo removal. So maybe there was a connection there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be curious. I mean, listen, I like Dr. Will. Old school Big Brother. So I'll be happy just to see his little face. He's always kind of funny. He's very sassy. Yeah.
It's fun, like whatever. This show is so campy anyway. It's like throw it in there, sure.
Okay, wait. Can you tell me? Oh my gosh, what does camp mean? What does campy mean?
The way that I use it is like almost like cheesy. Like it's a little like leans into the cheesiness of it. So when someone says it's like it's campy, it's like it's kind of like cheesy, but like meant to be. Like, you know how they're leaning into like the costumes and the Scottish stuff? So that's why I'm like, they're kind of leaning into that. Like he has wolves. Like, what?
Yeah, so weird. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I think I'm right. I mean,
no, I'm sure you are.
Wrong,
I have no idea. I say things that are so outdated. I'm like, oh my gosh, people probably think I'm like that person, but I can't keep up with all the lingo. That's the thing. I'm like, oh my god.
Kelley, I think we're the same age, so don't worry. I don't keep up with a lot of the lingo. Trust me, the followers are telling me like what certain things mean because like I think people are insulting me. They're like, she's serving the C word, and I'm like, oh my god. And they're like, no, that's great. I'm like, oh.
You're like, oh, okay, got it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, I'm learning so many new things here. I love this. You know what it is? Is that the language changes. Like, it seems so frequently now that I can't keep up. That's what it is.
No, I don't know what's going on. I'm a millennial. I'm an old millennial, whatever.
I am too, babe. All right, we're in this together.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so what do we think? What are our predictions for what's going to go down? Because do we think they'll strike right away, or can Dan make peace here for another episode or two? Or
okay, well, we're going to have a murder first, right?
True. That's
so.
Not going to be a housewife.
How it will not be a housewife.
No way.
I think I'm going to take a guess and say in order to make amends and please Phaedra, I think they might get rid of somebody in like the reality TV group. Yep. Now, maybe they can agree on someone neutral, like a CT or someone like that. But I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Phaedra's like, we have to get rid of Janelle, otherwise I don't trust you. Like it wouldn't surprise me if she kind of was like, laid it down and was like, if you don't do this, then it's gonna be war type thing.
I completely agree.
You do?
I think so too. Okay. I think she's gonna be like, it's got to be one of you guys. They might be able
Sandra or Janelle, maybe.
They might be able to finesse like a Kevin, maybe. But I'm with you. I think Janelle's in trouble here. I don't know.
I think so too. I really do.
And then
so that's my guess. And then as far as the banishments, I mean, things change so much in this episode. It's hard to say, but I do believe that Kevin has had a lot of heat on him the last, not a lot, but Parv voted for him the round table before this one. And then now he's received votes this time. So I could see Kevin at the banishment being in trouble. What do you think?
It's tough. Because the other thing is, well, one, for the murder, is Dan going to cut his losses and say, yeah, you can have Janelle? Or is he going to say, listen, Janelle has heat on her too. Sheree wants her. Like, let's just save that for the banishment. Yeah. I think Kevin and Janelle, either way, are a little bit in trouble.
I think so too.
I feel like Sandra's honestly fine, because I don't know if they like... She sucks up to those housewives. She admitted it. She's like, oh, I'm their best friend. So
that's true. Yeah, that's very true. So she might be okay. Yeah. I mean, MJ is going to be fine. Although MJ could get heat at the banishment again.
Yes. Yeah.
Because now that they got rid of Larsa, they might be like, well, it wasn't Larsa, it must be MJ. So I could see her still potentially getting banished. But I do agree. I think we're on the same page that I think Janelle is potentially in big trouble from either murder or banishment.
Yeah. Is there any world where you see Phaedra try to get like Parv at the banishment, or no?
Oh man. Gosh.
I know.
I think it depends who they murder. I think it depends if
they play nice.
Parv and Dan are willing to kind of get rid of one of their own and show her that like, hey, I think a lot will depend on the conversations too that are had and how Parv moves and talks and acts in the next episode, to be honest.
Yep. I think it's going to be interesting. Who of the traitors do you see going out first? Any guess?
I would have said Dan last week, but
Me too.
Man, I don't want to say it, but I am a little worried for Parv now.
Yeah.
I am a little bit worried, only because I feel like Phaedra does have a little group going with the Housewives and a few other people. And it's not like Parv and Sandra are tight. I mean, it's not like Sandra's going to stick her neck out for Parv. Like, who does Parv have? People might just be like, let's just banish Parv because, like, why? Who's she tied to? Like, maybe it was her. So I am worried for her now. But that's what I'm going to say, I guess, would go out first. I don't want it, and I hope I'm wrong. But I think Dan has kind of fallen back a bit. And I think that Phaedra is kind of insulated a little bit.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how much Dan sticks up for Parv or kind of is like, ugh, I gotta like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm interested to see that.
I think he might cut it because he even said, he's like, I'm going to pick Parv because I know she's always going to be like a prime target.
True.
People are always going to assume she's a traitor. So I think he'd be like,
fanning those flames.
Yeah. Because if Parv's a traitor, they might think like, oh, well, that was the big name.
Good call.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that must have been the big one. So they're certainly not going to have Dan and Parv as the big names. I think it would take a little bit of heat off of him. So.
And they don't.
Guess we'll see.
Yeah, they don't have the numbers yet to get rid of Phaedra, right? Like, with all the Housewives in there, I don't know. I think it'd be tough.
I think it'd be tough because you have to look at the people who are sitting in the middle. Like, where does John stand? Where do Peter and Kevin and Bergie's with Sandra, it seems. So where does Sandra stand?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough.
Well,
no. Yeah.
Anyone you think who do you think's probably like in the best position or in a good position at this point?
For the faithfuls?
Yeah.
I would say the people that haven't
haven't
really done anything. I'm sorry. There's a thing. There's a difference between being like quiet like Dan, who is also calculated, and being quiet again. I feel bad saying it, but being quiet like Bergie. And this is no offense to Bergie. I think he seems like such a sweet person.
Yeah.
Like, but there's just a difference between the two. Like, you're looking at Bergie and you're like, there's no way the Bergie is a traitor. I'm sorry. I'm really not. I think he's so sweet. Like, and that's a really great quality. But it's like, you look at Dan and you're like, he has the ability to be a traitor. And even though they're both being quiet, they're not the same. So I would say right now for faithfuls, like a Bergie and even a Peter are in the best spot.
I like it. I agree.
Yeah. No shade. I like everyone. Shade. Come on.
No shade. This is a TV show. It's not the real, no. Criticizing the real people.
No.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, Kelley, my listeners are screaming at me, probably asking, though. I know we've talked about, the rumors that you might be on, but, like, would you ever do the Traitors?
I would do the Traitors, yes, but I don't believe I would ever get the call for the Traitors because I think there are...
Criminal.
Well, that's very sweet. I think there are a lot of other amazing people out there that they would probably choose over me, which is totally fine. And this is not me like, oh, tell me they pick me. No. I'm being 100%. Like, I can think off the top of my head, like 10 people that I would immediately be like, no, you should pick them definitely over me. Like, so... but yes, if I did get the call, I would play. But that to say, I personally would be interested in any show kind of like this. Like, I love The Mole. I really loved The Circle when it first came out. Like, anything where I can be inside eating, kind of doing more. Like, that's me. I'm over all that other stuff. Like, I'm not, Survivor's not me. I do like Big Brother, but it's so long. Can't do that. So long. And the challenge, I don't know.
You've had to be called for the challenge at some point, no?
I have.
Yeah.
I have.
No interest, though?
No. I'm just not, I just am kind of at the point, like, if I were going to do a show, I would want to do a show that, like, I really love and think would be fun and I'm interested in. I don't just want to do, like, a show to do a show. So for me, again, like, The Mole would be so fun to me. The Traitors would be so fun to me. I just love, like, the concept of these shows. So that's where I stand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wouldn't. I want to know if you would want to be a faithful or a traitor, but I also don't want to give away your strategy in case you do get a call. But I think
I appreciate that.
I think you'd be fun as either. Like, I think you would also do well as either. Like, I could see you really sussing people out. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. Again, that, it's that Survivor skill set. We see it all. So us survivors, we do pretty good.
And I read that you obviously, you originally applied for Amazing Race. Like, are you still interested in ever doing that or no?
I would do the Amazing Race, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think my husband really wants to do the Amazing Race, but I think if I were to do the Amazing Race, I most likely the only person that they would want me to do it with is my dad, would be my guess. Which would be fun because I don't know, I mean, you wouldn't know this because you haven't traveled with my dad. But my dad, and I do the same thing. Like, when I'm going through the airport, like, I'm going. Like, it's not running, but I'm like, I have a destination in mind. I'm getting to the gate. I'm checking it. Are we good? Cool. Like, we're off, So I think that it would be fun because, he's even left me in like the dust before. And I'm like, I'm a pretty quick person through the airport. And there's been times where he'll like take the stairs down. I'm like taking a little escalator and he's like already down, like at the tram. I'm like, Dad, like, I'm coming, like, wait for me, please. But yeah, I would do the Amazing Race and it probably would be us, but yeah.
That would be fun. I love airport dads. On TikTok, it's always like the dads at the airport 3 hours early. Like, wait,
I love it. That was fun. Such a fun trend. I love that trend. With the Home Depot sound, it was perfect.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Kelley, any other thoughts on the Traitors so far? Any predictions? Anything else you want to add about this episode of the Traitors?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all. Yeah, I think we did. I hope people enjoy this and just, it's all in good fun and we'll see what happens. I've seen some people say online that maybe having all new people is more fun, and maybe if they continue with the Traitors, doing All-Stars every season is not the answer. But I do think for this season and the names they got, I think it's perfect. I think it has been really fun and I've really enjoyed it. So
I agree.
I'm happy with what they did. Good job, casting team.
Good job. They won an Emmy, I think. Pretty sure.
That's amazing. I love that. Good for them. Yeah, so that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you, Kelley, so much for joining me. Obviously, for the listeners, please like and subscribe. I'll be back next week. But Kelley, you're great. Thank you so much.